For years, I talked about the existential danger that was Tucker Carlson with his white supremacy fireside chat nightly on Fox News. And I got a lot of pushback for that. A lot of people, not just Republicans, not just Nazi-adjacent dipshits like Tucker Carlson, but even liberals, even Democrats, even people who color themselves allies, said, well, not everything's racist. You're overblowing the threat of white supremacy. Tucker Carlson's not really a Nazi. Not everything's Nazi. Making all kinds of excuses, carrying water for white supremacy. And now, that's me tooting my own horn. It cannot be argued any longer, ever again, that Tucker Carlson is anything but a Nazi sympathizer, a white supremacist, a white Christian nationalist. It cannot. And yesterday on Twitter, my wiretap in the house, funded by Amazon, just went off. That's why I'm distracted. Alexa. Eric Erickson, stalwart conservative, said this on Twitter. Didn't expect Tucker Carlson to become an outlet for Nazi apologetics, but here we are. You see, for years we sounded the alarm. We, meaning me and a few others, and it was ignored. It was even given space by people who said they were Democrats. That, oh, come on, Ed, it's not everything's white supremacy. I answered this tweet with this. I said, if you, quote, didn't expect Tucker Carlson to become an outlet for Nazi apologetics, you are either stupid or not paying attention or both. And I stand by that because for years, he talked about immigrants making our country poorer and dirtier. He forwarded and mainstreamed the racist, white supremacist conspiracy theory called the Great Replacement Theory. He talked about white genocide on his show on a nightly basis. And by the way, he wasn't fired for that. He wasn't fired for being a white supremacist. He was fired because he spoke ill of the corporate hierarchy at Fox News. That should tell you everything you need to know about Fox News. But yesterday, he posted an interview with a dipshit Nazi sympathizer puke named Darryl Cooper, who he calls like a noted and respected historian. I've been able to find no evidence of really any education whatsoever, but even like zero scholarship. He hasn't entered into any see, history is not just you read a history book and you're a historian. There is scholarship, there is research, there's actual scholarship done. And he hasn't contributed to the compendium of knowledge in the field of history at all. All he is someone who loves Hitler, who posts about this is better than this, and Hitler's actually in heaven, guys. You just don't know it. Here's a deleted post that just after this interview was posted, he's gone and tried to play cleanup, deleting certain posts. He posted this. This may be putting it too crudely for some, but the picture on the left was infinitely preferable in virtually every way than the one on the right. The picture on the left is a picture of Adolf Hitler with his Nazi, murderous, genocidal Nazi goons marching through the streets of Paris. And on the right was a screenshot from the opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games, which were hosted in Paris this year. An artistic interpretation of history. The games thing. Not Hitler walking through being infinitely preferable. Infinitely preferable Hitler having just invaded France. He also tweeted this little ditty about Hitler being in heaven. If you're having a bad day, just remember that Trump's shooter is currently wandering around hell looking for Hitler while the two guys Kyle Rittenhouse dropped figure out how to break the news to him. And look, you might say, why is this important? We know Tucker Carlson to be a dangerous white supremacist. We know he traffics in white supremacy. We know he's a conspiracy theorist dipshit. We know that you've called him a googly-eyed feather duster for years. We get it. The reason it's important is he's platforming people that are very close to JD Vance, that have congratulated JD Vance for being vice presidential pick. These are the circles in which the people who are closest to power, again, are running. This is from The Independent. Here's the headline: white nationalist bodybuilders and liberal elites. Here's who JD Vance is following on Twitter. JD Vance, who was chosen as the Republican vice presidential nominee this week, follows accounts on Twitter that promote white nationalist views. Vance also follows, and by the way, this is just one of many troubling individuals. This is just the one we're talking about today, Daryl Cooper. Vance also follows podcast host Daryl Cooper, who said that the 2017 Charlottesville Unite the Right rally included, quote, a bunch of good people, and wrote in a since deleted tweet that FDR chose the wrong side in World War II, The Atlantic reported. It's not clear how long Vance has followed each account or if he has ever seen or interacted with any of the posted content, but Cooper congratulated his longtime mutual, Vance, after he was chosen as the Republican vice presidential candidate. Now, before I play this very brief clip of a part of the interview where he's heaping praise upon Hitler and saying that actually it wasn't Hitler who was the villain during World War II, the man who initiated the extermination of roughly 7 million people, Jewish people, gay people, the Romani people who are commonly known as gypsies, people who were disabled, people who are intellectually disabled, trans people, gay. It was a horror show. He was absolutely the villain. It was Winston Churchill, one of the leaders of Allied countries. He was actually the true villain. But this is the tweet of Tucker Carlson, how he categorized Daryl Cooper. Daryl Cooper may be the best and most honest popular historian in the United States. His latest project is the most forbidden of all, trying to understand World War II. Is a project of trying to understand World War II forbidden, or have countless volumes been written on World War II? Hundreds, if not thousands of documentaries have been made about World War II, getting to the bottom of it. It's not forbidden, you dipshit. It's just you have a conspiratorial, hateful, Nazi-friendly view of it, Tucker Carlson. See, this is why, for years, I challenged this little Nazi puke to a charity boxing match, requests that went unanswered. We sold t-shirts, if I could find a picture of one. I don't think we sell them anymore. They did pretty well. And also at the end of the tweet, includes paid partnership. This is sponsored content. This Nazi apologetics with Tucker Carlson. So here's the clip, the brief clip, and then we'll talk about a couple of things that are absolutely disgusting, and the Republican Party that's now clutching their pearls like, what? Who knew this was happening?
I thought Churchill was the chief villain of the Second World War. Now, he didn't kill the most people. He didn't commit the most atrocities. But I believe, and I think when you really get into it and tell the story right and don't leave anything out, you see that he was primarily responsible for that war becoming what it did, becoming something other than an invasion of Poland. You know, Germany, look, they put themselves into a position, and Adolf Hitler is chiefly responsible for this, but his whole regime is responsible for it, that when they went into the East in 1941, they launched a war where they were completely unprepared to deal with the millions and millions of prisoners of war, of local political prisoners and so forth that they were going to have to handle. They went in with no plan for that. And they just threw these people into camps, and millions of people ended up dead there. You know, you have like letters as early as July, August 1941 from commandants of these makeshift camps that they're setting up for these millions of people who are surrendering or people they're rounding up. And so it's 2 months after, a month or two after Barbarossa was launched. And they're writing back to the high command in Berlin saying, we can't feed these people. We don't have the food to feed these people. And one of them actually says, rather than wait for them all to slowly starve this winter, wouldn't it be more humane to just finish them off quickly now?
That's a hell of a use of passive voice, is it not? The Nazis launched a war, and they were completely unprepared to deal with the prisoners of war. And then yada, 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 millions of people ended up dead. They ended up dead. Did they die of pneumonia? Did they die of being in the elements? Did they die of shock? Was it heart attack? Was it heartbreak? What was it, Daryl Cooper? What was it that killed the millions of people? How did they end up dead? Was it gas chambers? Was it the Holocaust? Was it the systematic eradication of a particular religious group? Darryl Cooper, respected historian, and the claim that Churchill was actually the chief villain of World War II. Not Hitler. If you thought Hitler was the chief villain of World War II, well, you've got another thing coming. It was actually one of the leaders of the Allied countries who fought against the Nazis, who didn't, like Neville Chamberlain, appease Hitler and pacify Hitler and give Hitler land, ignoring the absolute threat of the monster that he was. So let me tell you, it falls on deaf ears. Republicans like Eric Erickson saying, what? Wasn't in my bingo card for him to be a Nazi? It wasn't? Then what fucking show were you watching on Fox News for years and years and years, Eric Erickson? What was it? Because I've been sounding the alarm for years. They're going to deny, even though their candidate, Donald Trump, has dinner with Nazis. Nick Fuentes. Donald Trump refused to disavow the former grand wizard of the KKK, David Duke. I don't know, Nazis? David Duke, who's that? I don't know. I'm not going to disavow people I don't know. Jake Tapper says, oh, yeah, I'm just talking about the KKK. You should be pretty clear you want to disavow. No. And there's a reason they don't. Anyway. What do you think? I'd love to know. Leave a comment below. You can also call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, as always, daily@dollemore.com. I do want to hear from you. If you want to help me make these videos, if you appreciate my point of view or the manner with which I give the message, and you want to help support this work, help me produce this work, click the join button below. For $1.99 a month, you can help support this work, do all the stuff. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. I'm on social media. If you're there and you want to go follow me there, that would be great. Also, it'd be terrible because it's social media, at Dollemore. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.